Hi, I'm Robert Zott, and this is your edition of FSU Weather Monday. Right now you can see it is 79 degrees outside and partly cloudy. We've got quite a few clouds outside right now. Wind coming from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. But honestly, a beautiful view at Doak Campbell Stadium and the sunrise right here at 6:01 p.m. Looking at our satellite radar, you can see quite a bit of shower and storm activity across the entirety of Florida, going from the Panhandle around Tallahassee. You can see we've got a few weak showers and storms. All the way down to Miami, some more showers and storms across the I-4 and I-95 corridors. So quite a bit of rain for the state right now, but that will start to clear out as we get into the evening hours. Looking at our current evening conditions right now, 73 degrees, increasing cloud cover and winds. Winds coming from the east now at 5 miles per hour. Low temperature of 73, pretty nice and cool for most of us here in Tallahassee. And looking at tomorrow, 71 degrees, PM storms, wind from the east at 5 miles per hour. And a look at our show, you can see a raining week ahead, windy, and we might see a few more tropical storms. I'm going to pass this off to our edition of FSU Weather.
Once again, thank you for joining us at FSU Weather. My name is student meteorologist Josh Green with another great look at that sunset behind Doak Campbell Stadium right now. We're currently sitting at 79 degrees, partly cloudy skies with winds coming out of the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Right now you can see we've got a lot of rain showers coming our direction all across from central Florida up into the Panhandle. You can see these outer bands from Tropical Storm Eta making our way into our area. So we'll see these rain bands come into our area as of tonight and into tomorrow and throughout the week as we can watch those move across. And we're zooming out a bit. Here you can see down here is where the center of Eta is located. And all these outer bands are stretching across the entirety of the state right now, with the northeast side of the storm right on top of Florida, which is generally the one that brings the most rain and winds. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as we make our way through the rest of the show. Wind speeds right now, you can see that general counterclockwise direction from Tropical Storm Eta, with winds coming out of the northeast at around 5 to 10 miles per hour throughout our viewing area. You can see 14 down there in Apalachicola, 16 up there in Donaldsville. And for our dew points right now, we've got pretty muggy conditions outside. 69 in Tallahassee, 70 in Quincy, 71 down there in Apalachicola. All these muggy conditions associated with our moisture coming into our area from the storm. And temperatures right now, pretty warm, 79 degrees in Tallahassee, 77 in Quincy, 77 in Thomasville, and 78 up in Valdosta. And here's a look at our next 24 hours. You can see these rain bands making its way through the Panhandle up through southern Georgia. You can see these stronger bands of rain with the bright red. You want to watch out for those. It can be pretty intense thunderstorms and with some lightning involved. As for tomorrow, 9 a.m., cloudy skies, temperatures at 73 degrees. As we move in through the day, temperatures will warm up a bit. We're going to get darker skies as the day continues. Eventually, we're going to have some thunderstorms coming in at about 3 p.m. and through the rest of the afternoon. Taking a look at our week ahead, on Tuesday, as for tomorrow, 70% chance of thunderstorms. Very, very high chance with all those rain bands moving through. We also have got student government elections tomorrow, so make sure you get on your phones and vote for those. As we move through the rest of the week, you can see Wednesday, we've got Veterans Day with rain chances still sitting at 50%. All the way through Thursday and Friday, where our rain chances even increase more as Tropical Storm Eta makes its way into our viewing area. And for this weekend, we can see windy conditions on Saturday. As we move in through Sunday and Monday, conditions will most likely clear up. And now we're going to pass things off to Christian.
Yes, thank you, Josh. And let's take a look over here. We're going to be looking at the southeast. You can see much of the southeastern area. It's more in the mid to upper 70s. It's a lot warmer down here. Well, 80s for down here in Miami, 81 degrees, 80 degrees in Tampa, and up here in Montgomery, 75 degrees. It's a little minor differences. We have very high dew points going on in our southeastern region. 61 degrees up in Atlanta, 64 in Montgomery, Jackson, and Little Rock. And for us here in Tallahassee, 69 degrees, 71 degrees in Jacksonville. So it is quite muggy for us. As for our specific area here, you can see we have those northeasterly winds counterclockwise. As Josh said, it is due to Tropical Storm Eta. And further along down here, you can see that here in Key West, Miami, it's more like southeasterly as Eta is passing by. It just passed through the Keys, and so now it is kind of, the center is more along in the Gulf over here. And when you look up here in the southeast, it's kind of cloudy a little bit over Alabama, Mississippi. We have some rain bands coming over south to central Georgia. As far as Florida, Florida is pretty much covered in much of the moisture content from Eta. And as we look into our upper level water vapor here, you can see that much of around the Gulf of Mexico up into the rest of the southeast is very dry. And as you get closer to, of course, where the storm is here in Florida, it's a lot more moist right here. Of course, because Tropical Storm Eta is passing by along right now. You can see over here there's a lot of cloud coverage going on in the southeastern region, especially down here as the storm is kind of meandering around the Gulf of Mexico. So it's kind of uncertain as to where it's going to be going, but we know that it's going to be sitting here for the rest of the week. Up here in the northeast, we have some rain that's going to be passing along for the rest of the week. It's going to be very wet week for much of the East Coast. And as we look into tonight's forecast, it's going to be very cloudy, as I said, all throughout the southeast. 66 degrees in Atlanta, 65 in Jackson, Tupelo, and Shreveport. And we also have 74 degrees in Orlando, 72 in Jacksonville, and 78 degrees in Miami, as well as some thunderstorms passing along in our area. For Florida. For tomorrow's forecast, it's still going to be very cloudy throughout the region. 81 degrees in Montgomery, 73 in Atlanta, and down here in Orlando, 83 degrees, with some thunderstorms, as well as in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and all the way down here in Key West. And now we're going to be taking a look at the tropicals. What are we going to talk about, Josh?
All right, thank you, Christian. Let's get into the meat of our show. We are going to be talking about Tropical Storm Eta, which just so happens to be our 28th named storm of the 2020 hurricane season. And we are deep into the season. We're past when it's actually supposed to stop, which is November 1st normally, but we're still seeing a lot of action over there. So let's take a closer look at it. As you can see, this is the center of circulation for Eta, with those counterclockwise winds moving around the center. And you can see these outer bands bringing a lot of moisture into the South Florida regions, as well as central and soon to be the panhandle regions of Florida. The current track right now, as you can see, it's sitting right about above the Caribbean. It's going to be moving northward at a pretty slow pace. As you can see, Wednesday, it'll be directly across from about the Naples area. And Thursday, winds will actually decrease from Wednesday. So this storm, it looks like it's going to be actually decreasing in wind speeds as it moves up into the Gulf, possibly seeing some wind shear or colder water temperatures. And for our spaghetti plots, pretty much all over the place right now. Right now, we've got a general consensus it will be moving northwards up to a certain extent. From there, the plots tend to differ a lot. So we could see some action moving up into the Pensacola region. It could just go right off into the heart of the Gulf of Mexico, or it could even make a turn and head over to the Texas or northern Mexico region. Right now, the plots are pretty uncertain with the possibility for it decreasing in strength. Speaking of strength, here's a look at the projected wind fields for Tropical Storm Eta. As you can see, that general northern consensus and those tropical storm force winds are projected to actually diminish as it moves northward, which is a very good sign for us because it looks like it's going to be decreasing in strength as it moves a little closer to us. And here's the probability of those tropical storm force winds. This large area right here, 100% going to see tropical storm force winds. As we move out of that circle, you can see these chances decrease very, very rapidly. As for the Tallahassee region, we're looking at about 20% right now. These chances, of course, can change as we move into the week and get a better picture of where this storm is actually going to be moving. But as for now, we're only looking at approximately 20% chance. As you can see for the western side of Florida, those chances are very similar. We're probably not going to see that eastern track as we move over to that coast. As for our rainfall forecast, you can see Miami and West Palm Beach are really racking up the most rainfall from this storm as of now. You can see these darker areas down here is what's going to get all that rainfall as we move in through it. And taking a look at the next 24 hours, you can see those rain bands moving in through the area as Eta makes its way up towards the Gulf and possibly into the Tallahassee region. But we'll have to take a look at that later. As for now, we're going to pass things off to Robert at the educational desk.
Thank you for that, Josh. Like you said, we're really looking at these tropics. This season is going to still be pretty active for us, obviously. Climatologically, it ends around November 30th, but if 2005, the last record-breaking season with this amount of storms, is any guide, this season could go well beyond that date. Right now, we are, as you said, we're watching Eta. We may not know what it's doing right now because it is a little bit, the models are a little bit in disagreement as to where it could go. It could go towards maybe Tallahassee, could go back towards the Panhandle, could even go towards Texas. We don't know yet, and it probably looks like it's going to be a little bit weaker of a storm, but again, you need to continue watching these models, continue watching these forecasts, because anything could change with this storm, as we have seen in this season. We do know, however, if anything is certain with this storm, it has tied the record for the number of storms, number 28. Yes, I said that right, 28, almost 30 storms this entire season. That is the exact same number of storms we had in 2009. We've actually broken the record of names, but we've tied the record of storms because there was one unnamed storm back in 2005. This storm has been rather long-lasting and persistent, as it had horrible effects in Nicaragua and Honduras as a Category 4 landfall, and it has just kept churning along its way up towards the Gulf ever since then. And some flooding has actually happened in Miami as a result of this storm. I'm sure some of you guys have seen the news for that. This storm continues to have devastating effects wherever it makes landfall, and even though it may be weak, it is still a big rainmaker, so make sure you're watching this storm. And of course, we aren't done yet. We still have a month left in this season. Two systems we're watching. We have one right now, subtropical storm in the East Atlantic. It kind of seems like it's going to be out there for a while. Might not have any recent effect to land, but we'll continue watching that one. And a tropical wave in the Caribbean that you're going to need to keep watching into the future. Theta and Iota are our next names. We'll need to keep watching these and stay tuned for this hurricane season. Now I'm going to pass things off back to Josh at the wall for a look at our national.
Thank you for that educational desk, Robert. Taking a look at our national forecast temperatures right now. For the South Florida region, you can see Miami sitting at 81 degrees, Tallahassee 79. As we make our way up towards the north a little bit, you can see Memphis sitting at 74, Chicago, Kansas City, very similar temperatures. Right here, you can see a very strong frontal system. All these temperatures behind, very, very cold. It's bringing moisture across the Midwest regions, and you can see on this side of the front, pretty warm temperatures. So we're going to watch that front as it makes its way across the country. Current dew point temperatures, very muggy down in the southeast region, 77 down in Miami, 69 here in Tallahassee. As you can see, as you make your way north, you can see this very strong front, dry conditions behind it, normal moist conditions in front of it. So as the week progresses, you can see these dry conditions make their way towards the central and southern parts of the United States. On upper level water vapor right now, you can see a lot of moisture associated with Eta making its way into the Florida Peninsula and eventually to the Panhandle. A little bit to our west, you can see a lot of moisture associated with this trough right here and some drier conditions right in the south part of the United States. Satellite and radar, here's that rain associated with that front that's moving across the country right now with those cold conditions behind it. Speaking of those cold conditions, here's some winter weather that we're seeing right now in the Denver up into the Dakota regions. And more towards our part of the neighborhood, you can see all this rain shower associated with Eta making its way through the entire southeast region and eventually over into the Gulf. Active alerts, we've got some small craft advisories associated with Eta right now with some flood warnings down in South Florida from all that rainfall that they're seeing right now. A bit to our west, you can see these winter conditions, very strong line of possible blizzard conditions as well. And a little bit to our south, we can also see a lot of snow over in the Denver region. For the northeast, pretty clear right now, not much to talk about here. Not a lot of moisture, a little bit up into southern Canada region. Oh, as we make our way into the Midwest, here's that very, very strong line of thunderstorms. As you can see, there's some red area right there. You got to watch out for those. It extends all the way down into the Nebraskas, down into Kansas, and you can see on the other side of this storm, all this snow conditions moving its way through Denver and up into the Dakotas. For the southwest region right now, you can see there's still some, you can see that snow up in Denver right now. Down here, you see a little bit of moisture, pretty clear overall, dry conditions in this region. As for our drought monitor, speaking of dry conditions, very, very dark red right here, pretty light red right here. Still seeing those drought conditions all the way into November for the west. So hopefully these places will be receiving some rainfall in the short days to come. Today's storm outlook, we can see all this strong line of storms over here and through the St. Louis area and down into the southeast region of the states because of that tropical storm Eta. For tonight's forecast, very cold conditions behind that front that we're seeing. And for tomorrow, we've also got very similar conditions, warm in the southeast. Now we're going to pass things back off to Christian for the local look.
Yes, we'll be taking another look at the local, and we have our current conditions. That sun has already set it. It's really, really quick, unbelievable. We still have some cloudy conditions, and currently it's 79 degrees, and we have winds coming from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. So as you can see, we have some of the partly cloudy skies. We might start to see some rain bands from Tropical Storm Eta coming into our area within the next few hours, and it's still very dry along the southeastern parts, but as you get further down into the peninsula of Florida, it's going to be very moist, especially as Eta is pretty much kind of hugging along the west coast of Florida. And current temperatures are 79 degrees with some partly cloudy skies here for us in Tallahassee, as well as 77 degrees in Thomasville, Bainbridge, and Quincy alike. We also have some wind speed and directions going in this northeasterly direction as it is counterclockwise, which is apparent based on Tropical Storm Eta. That will be inching closer to us later this evening into tomorrow. 10 miles per hour for us here in Tallahassee, 16 miles per hour in Quincy and Donaldsonville, and 14 miles per hour for Apalachicola, all the way down here. We have very, very humid conditions for us right now. 69 degrees in Tallahassee, 68 in Thomasville and Bainbridge, as well as 70 degrees in Quincy, as well as 66 in Valdosta. And like I said before, the clouds is going to be very gloomy for us in our area. It also will pertain to the rest of Florida. But see, we got some isolated showers and thunderstorms that's going to be passing along for us, and it's going to be pretty much partly cloudy to very cloudy in much of our area in the next day or two to come. Current marine forecast conditions, it's 85 degrees. I wouldn't really recommend it as, of course, Tropical Storm Eta is really disrupting the nice calm flow of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico for us. We have winds east 15 to 25 knots, 8 to 13 feet, so very rough seas, and it's obviously because of Tropical Storm Eta. And now as we look into the week ahead, Tuesday, tomorrow, 70% of thunderstorms, and we got some voting going on for SGA, so please vote for our folks here. And for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for the rest of the week, we're going to be dealing with muggy, gross conditions, very gloomy from Tropical Storm Eta. It's going to be low to mid 80s throughout the rest of the week, and we have some lows that are a lot warmer as well, 73, 72, 60s for the rest of our week. And now we're going to pass things off for Lindsay to give us another environmental topic.
Welcome back, girls, gals, and non-binary pals. I'm student environmentalist and student meteorologist Lindsay Parmet, and we are currently in my backyard today. It is a gorgeous day outside, and after the long, stressful week I'm sure that we've all had, I think it's just nice to enjoy the beauty of nature, to really just take it in. So today we are going to start off our conversation by taking a long, deep breath because, again, it's been a very stressful week, and I think we all deserve it. So on 3, we're going to breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And out. All right, so let's get started. Today's conversation is going to be about the positives, because I think we've all really just seen a lot of negatives in the news recently. So today we're going to start with a couple positive aspects of the environment that are either changing or a policy that is causing a better change for our environment. So to start, a lot of people who follow environmental news know that there is a large gap in the ozone layer above Antarctica. However, scientists are now starting to see that it is in recovery, which means that instead of the big gap that it was, it's now much smaller. And this is really great because it means that there isn't going to be as much melting in the Arctic because the ozone layer is smaller. So it means in turn that there will be less melting of the ice, which means there will be more ice and less water that could potentially cause a sea level rise. And it also means that we're preserving fresh water. Now, not only is it great that the ozone layer above the Arctic is becoming smaller and smaller, but we're also seeing a lot of countries and cities that are banning plastic waste. So a lot of times I'll see this back home in New York where I'll go grocery shopping and no more plastic bags, only paper. And they really do incentivize you to bring your own reusable bags, which I highly suggest. And they do that by charging you extra if you want a paper bag. And overall, we will see that there is a decrease in plastic pollution because of this. And there will be less pollution in the ocean and less pollution in the landfills. And as we spoke about last week, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I'll be talking about it more next week, we are going to see that there there's more life in coral reefs again. Scientists are not only learning how to restore corals that have bleached, but we're also learning about a new reef system off the barrier reef, and it's really great because it's promoting new biodiversity, and overall it's just really reassuring to scientists to know that there are other reefs out there and that we're not really killing off all of the ones we have, and we need to make sure that we can protect it. So that's all I have for this week. Again, I know it's been a really stressful week, but there are positives. For now, that's all I have. Thank you so much, guys. I'm sending it back over to everybody in the studio.
Taking a closer look to Florida. Right now our temperatures are pretty much in the 80s for much of the state down here, or South Florida at least. 82 in West Palm Beach, 81 in Miami, 80 in Tampa. As you can see, we got some very cloudy conditions throughout the whole state. Now this is a general outlook of our great state of Florida. The peninsula so far has been seeing much of the moisture thanks to Tropical Storm Eta out here, and it is very cloudy conditions. If it's not raining, it's probably pretty cloudy depending on where you are. Now, as we get a closer look, it's still passing through the Florida Keys. They're still dealing with some rain. Miami and Fort Lauderdale are starting to lighten up a little bit on the rain. Unfortunately, they have been dealing with flooding, so hopefully the next few hours will give them a little bit of a break. But right now, Miami, 84 degrees for Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as Thursday, 83 degrees with some thunderstorms. And for Tampa, we have 88 degrees Tuesday, 86 Wednesday, and 85 for Thursday. Very cloudy and thunderstorm conditions possible, as well as Orlando here, 83, 85, and 84, all thunderstorm conditions. And we get a closer look here in Central Florida. See, now much of the rain bands are kind of, we got the northeastern part of Tropical Storm Eta that's going to be impacting this part of Florida. And as we all know, the northeastern part of storms are very dangerous. So everybody has to keep a closer look. Even up here around Jacksonville, Palm Coast, we're starting to get some of that really gross outer rain bands that can be very dangerous for tornado-like conditions or even flash flooding. Right here in Jacksonville, we got 80 degrees for Tuesday, 84 Wednesday, and a little bit cooler on Thursday, 81 degrees, but still very high chances of thunderstorms. And for Pensacola, it's 82 degrees for Tuesday, 81 on Wednesday, and 83 on Thursday. Still very cloudy and thunderstorm conditions. For now, it still seems rather clear. You can see a little bit that there's some clouds starting to come over, and within the next few hours, we are going to see our fair share of rain bands for a storm that is just still going to be sitting along the Gulf. And for tonight's forecast in the States, 72 degrees in Gainesville, 78 in West Palm Beach, as well as Miami, and 73 degrees in Jacksonville, and 72 degrees over here in Pensacola. For tomorrow's forecast, it's going to still be very thunderstorm with 83 degrees in Orlando, 84 in West Palm Beach, and 80 degrees in Jacksonville. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass things off to Robert. Robert, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about our local weather one last time in this program. You can see absolutely, well, not exactly beautiful conditions because you can't see a lot of it, but it is starting to get a little darker. So not bad conditions outside Doak Campbell Stadium right now. I do like to say absolutely beautiful because Doak Campbell Stadium is always absolutely beautiful. Currently 79 degrees outside of, well, Doak Campbell and all of Tallahassee right now. It's not bad, it's not great, it's just, we'll take it. Partly cloudy, winds from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. You can see your satellite and radar right now. Not a lot of activity over here, but towards our east, excuse me, you can see a lot of rain coming in. And a lot of this moisture is affected by Tropical Storm Eta. You can see some of these more prominent showers and thunderstorms down by Tampa right now starting to make their way towards the west, and a few showers and thunderstorms making their way across the I-75 and I-95 corridors. But again, none of these are severe right now, but this is associated with the tropical storm, so we are going to continue to need to watch these storms. Temperature-wise, it's a little bit on the warmer side, 78 in Valdosta, 78 in Apalachicola, and 79 in Tallahassee. So for an evening, this is a little bit on the warmer side, but we'll take it again. It's not in the 80s, so it's not bad. But what is bad are these dew points, 70, 69, 71 down in Apalachicola too. I mean, that makes these heat indexes, well, a little bit unbearable. 82 in Tallahassee, 80 in Apalachicola, 78 in Bainbridge. And if these don't sound bad to you, just remember, it is 6:24 p.m. The sun has already been down for an hour. We shouldn't be having these right now. So again, it's not the worst it could be, but it is a little bit on the warmer and muggier side. Next 24 hours, as this moisture does come from Tropical Storm Eta, we do see some more shower and thunderstorm activity coming into late Tuesday, and we all start to see this cloud cover also increase quite a bit. And looking at our conditions for tomorrow, 73 as you start the day, cloudy, not a lot of rain, so that might be the best time to get your dog walk out or whatever you're going to do in the morning. Darker as we get towards 12 p.m. A lot of these clouds start to increase and we start to see a lot of darker conditions. So again, might want to get that walk out in the beginning of the morning, and it starts to get quite a bit warmer as we get towards 3 p.m. Showers and thunderstorms, 82. And as we get towards the week ahead, you can see conditions are, well, mostly the same for most this week, going from our 80s on Tuesday towards 81 on Friday. A good amount of chance of rain for all these days. As we get into the later week and next week, you can see, however, it does start to clear out just a little bit with some windiness on Saturday and some showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. Otherwise, however, you can see this week is just mostly the same for our lows. Lows of 73 on Tuesday to a low of 56, however. You start to see this cold front come in, just get a little bit cooler on Sunday. Now I'm going to pass things off to Josh for our closing.
Thank you, Robert. So we had a lot to talk about in this show, especially Tropical Storm Eta. We've had this record-breaking season with 28 named storms. That is a lot, that since I can remember at least. It's even tied a record. We're going to see it's going to be this season has been long-lasting and persistent. We've seen a lot of things happen across the entire nation pretty much with these storms, all the way from the Gulf Coast, effects all the way through the Gulf of Mexico and into Florida, and other countries, surrounding countries have also been affected by this very bad storm season. So hopefully we're going to see that decrease as we move into the winter months. We do have 2 systems that are still out that we're still going to be watching, so we got to keep an eye on those. In terms of us, we'll see for the rest of the week, we're going to have a lot of rainy conditions, a lot of gloomy days for the coming week, but fortunately, after this week and after this weekend, we're definitely going to see conditions clear up and even hopefully some clear skies and some cooler conditions so we can feel a little bit more like winter as we head into the Thanksgiving break and into the holiday season. We do want to talk about the SGA elections coming up. We have our very own Jonathan who will be running in the elections, so keep an eye out for his name. He's a great part of FSU Weather. He's done a lot for this program over the past, I believe, 2.5 years at this point. So we appreciate it if you can check out his name on that ballot. Student elections, very important. They do mean a lot to this school and to what the school does for you. At some points we may get caught up and not really realize what they can actually mean for us, but it's good to definitely do some research, take a look at the ballot, take a look at the issues. We want you to really express your opinion, especially for our school. Just like you did for our country in the previous election last week, now's a chance to make a difference for this week. So make sure to check out, follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather at twitter.com. You can also check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/FSU Weather. And you can also watch us live on YouTube at FSU Weather as well. So, and follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather as well as our Twitter. So, from all of us folks here at FSU Weather, have a great Monday afternoon.